Okay, today we're going to talk about the web marketing and social media. And the objectives we have in this slideshow are the definitions. Basically, we're going to tell you what the difference is between the World Wide Web and social media. And we're going to talk about keys for using the web for marketing and using social media for your business. The World Wide Web is whenever you put www dot something in front of a computer, it's only accessed through the internet browsers. And some of the internet browsers out there is like Internet Explorer, AOL, Foxfire. There were some that came and went, so like Netscape, I don't know if they're still out there or not, but they help you access the World Wide Web. And the next we're going to talk about social media. And social media is a little bit different than the World Wide Web. It's an internet tool that allows individuals to share information, pictures, and documents. And like an example of this is like Facebook. So next we're going to talk about web marketing. We're going to talk about setting up a website for your business. What I recommend is that you need to make any kind of social media and internet marketing a part of your market plan. And depending on what kind of business you're in, it needs to be a major part. I like to talk about how many people use a telephone book anymore. I looked the other day at home and my telephone book's still in the plastic cover it came in. I was like, I don't even open that thing. Because whenever we try to find phone numbers or addresses, that all we do is we look it up on our cell phones or we look it up on the computer. And not only that, it'll show us a map of where it's located at. So here it talks about setting up a website, do it yourself versus hire someone to do it for you. Is caution, a quality website will leave the impression of low quality product. So if you have poor quality, they're going to look at you like, well, why do I want to do business with this guy? And that's a perfect example. If you have misspelled words, people are going to be like, why are you going to look at them? You're going to look at them as low quality, low price, things like that. And e-commerce versus informative. Basically, e-commerce, are you going to sell stuff on your website? Or is your website there solely to provide information to other people? And this is something you need to consider. I mean, if you have a business where you have a high-end product that you need to talk to somebody one-on-one, then you're probably going to have more of an informative website. If you're going to talk to somebody where you're going to sell something like a baseball caps or t-shirts, then you need to have more like an e-commerce website where they can purchase the items on the website. So this part of web marketing is make it clean, clear, and informative. Make your website that. Make your website searchable. Use tabs, site, index, meta tags, and photos. And it needs to be easy to understand. It needs to let people know what you're offering. And this is kind of an example. This shows how a website, everything there on the left is clean and organized in tabs. It tells you, how to navigate the site, what you're looking for, where they're located at, what they do, things like that. And in the middle, you'll see right there, it has a space for capturing client information. This is real important. This way you can build a database. I've been in parts of businesses before where client information is gold. This way you can contact the client. And here they're asking for an email, which is very, very low cost. It's not going to cost you anything to send the client an email or even to ask them for referrals. So there on the right side, it talks about customer review. We talked about that being a big marketing tool, that when a client talks about your business, it's more powerful than when you talk about your business. Down there at the bottom, we talk about using social media, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But most businesses nowadays have a contact to a social media website that they have, or a site that they have. And at the bottom, you can see it has location and contact information. To me, it's real important that you have this on your website. Like I said, so many people don't use the phone book anymore. They use the computer or they use their smartphone to find out where a person's located at, how to contact them. So, and it's real important that you have this on every page so that if they do navigate away from your home page because they're trying to find out some more information or something, that they know how to contact you. So make sure it's on every single page you have. So we're going to talk about web marketing, how to drive potential customers to your website. And this is something that's real important. All marketing material should refer to your website. Most business cards we talk about, like on the back, put your website there, www.widget.com. You can put it in big bold letters. Drive people to your website. That way you don't have to stand there in front of them and tell them everything about your website, about your company. You can have them come to your website and learn more about your company that way, learn more about you, find a way to get contact information so that you can contact them back. Use search engine optimization keywords, and I like to use this is Google Words. How many people are familiar with Google Words? What Google Words is basically you put the information that you want people, when they search for something, like if they search for red, and one of your keywords is red, then you're a red bicycle, and you sell red bicycles, your website should come up in their search, especially in your local area. So it's real key.
You pay for, or?
Yes, basically Google Words is something you pay per click. And you can set it to whatever you want. When I have my business, I set it to $100 a month. And so basically when somebody clicked on my website and they went there, they cost me $1 per click or something like that, so that I had 100 clicks every month. And some people might set it as low as $20 a month. You know, that way they have 20 people that come to the website looking for their information, depending on what you're trying to sell. Use social media and link to your website, and we'll talk about social media later. Like I said, all your marketing material should be have your web address on it, and that way you can drive people to your website. Pay-per-click advertising, that's kind of like what I was talking about with the Google Words. Use internet mapping sites. To me, like we talked about contact information and mapping, make sure that your location is on all these mapping websites. I know they use Google Maps. I know Yahoo's got a map thing. And basically you can add your business onto it. You can say, you know, 1407 Freddie Gonzalez BDI or VBOC, things like that. You know, and make sure your site is located on there. If not, you can add it. So.
How do you place your site at the top of the list?
Basically, the search engines are optimized by different users that use like their website. The way to make your website more attractive, that's kind of what they look at. How is your website more attractive? Is it something that they want to go to? Is it very informative? Is it something that's going to tell them something? So like, let's say you're selling the red bicycles. They might have a competitor at the top because he talks about, well, it's a red bicycle, it's a girl's bicycle, you know, it has this kind of chain, it has this ratio, whatever. So the more details that you can give a client and make your website the more authoritative one is the way you can go toward the top. Or by the fact that people are more likely to click on your website. Like let's say that you own a bicycle shop in McAllen and there's 5,000 people that click on your competitor's website, and there's 10,000 people that will click on your website, you're likely to rise up toward the top of the search engine. So
that's controlled by the search engine?
yeah, it's
Where you at on the
right. I think there are companies out there that you can pay to bring your company up. They specialize in making sure you have all the right information in there to get your company toward the top of the search engine. But every search engine's a little bit different. So, and I wouldn't recommend paying for that service right away. You know, like I said, put it on your marketing material, drive people to your website and inform them, and make sure you have good information on your website. It's not boring, it's colorful, it's entertaining, you know.
Do you know of a veteran service to assist entrepreneurs in the technical end of the business?
No, I don't know anybody that, because I think it's kind of a rare thing. That's why there's companies that just specialize in doing that. But I don't know of any company that does it. I just know that there are companies that will help you.
So the veterans don't have type of service?
I have never come across anything like that. So, and two, I mean, you can build your website yourself, but I've tried to build one myself, and I can consider myself pretty tech savvy, and I had a hard time with it. And so I suggest paying for it. And usually if you pay a professional to build your website, your professional will put the words in there, the search words in there, to build up your website as far as the search engines. So. Okay, other tips for marketing your website: attract attention to your homepage and headline. With the headline, that's kind of like, you know, we talked about marketing. That's one of the main things you want to do is make sure you have a headline that's going to get their attention. So maintain interest with text that's about you, not about me. Basically, when I say make text about you, and make it about your customer, whoever your client is. Don't make it just about yourself, okay? Build desire with frequently updating content. And this is another thing that the search engines look kind of for is make sure you don't have the same information on there all the time, that you update it with articles, maybe the current trends that are happening within the industry, things like that. Include many calls to action, requests to buy. If you have like an e-commerce website, make sure that you know, you give them the opportunity to buy your product. If you have an informative website or something, make sure that you have a way to get them to contact you so that you get their contact information, or that you can contact them so you have their contact information so you can build a database, you know, of potential customers. Use analytical tools to see what works and what doesn't. Basically, if you have a website, I think Google does this, we use this. It talks about how many times somebody's clicked on your website in a month. How long have they stayed there? You know, is your information informative enough to make them stay there? Or did they click on it by accident? Maybe you were selling bikes and they were looking for skateboards, and they clicked on your website and they really aren't interested in bikes, they're interested in skateboards, and you don't sell skateboards. So things like that. And kind of use the analytical tools to see what does work and what doesn't work. Maybe you put up an article about extreme biking or something, and that's not what people are interested in. They're more interested in long distance bike riding, things like that. So you know that, well, I don't need to put an article about extreme biking in there because my customers are not interested in that. And that's a good way to use analytical tools. Another way, post your phone number and street address on every page. We talked about this. Collect email addresses and communicate with prospective customers. We talked about this. Make sure you have this on your website so that you can get a hold. They can leave their information and you can get a hold of them. Like I said, if you build a database of potential customers, to me that's like gold. You can contact them anytime you have a special. Maybe they're going to refer to a friend, anything like that. 8 is real important. Test your site before you launch it. Make sure it works. I got on websites today where they talked about how links didn't work. And the guy goes, yes, it does. And I mean, it doesn't make any sense to argue with your customer. It's not going to do any good. So make sure you test your website before you put it up, before you launch it. Make sure all your links work. You know, the last thing you want is to lose a customer to go to your competitor because your link's not working.
Let me ask you on number 6.
Yes.
The phone number and street address. If you are working out of the home address, is that encouraged?
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, basically, if you're working from home and you don't want people showing up at your front door knocking, looking for you or anything like that, if you don't have a business site, I wouldn't put it. Just put your contact information like, this is my mobile phone. You know, so you always have like a mobile phone that you have for work, or this is my email address. You don't necessarily have to give them your physical address, your mailing address.
I think it's better to have a post office box in those situations.
Right.
A lot of times, you know, they need to have an actual address to purchase from you or.
Right.
Kind of thing.
And that's a great idea. I mean, you might have a different, just a P.O. box. There's plenty of like little mailbox places around that you can go to. And I don't know what they cost, but that's a great idea. Use results of your traffic and sales statistics to improve your site. Basically, this goes back to the analytics, how I've talked about. Find out what does work and what doesn't work and what you have to do to improve it. Next, we're going to talk about social media. And social media, like I said, is something too, it goes hand in hand with the website, the online kind of marketing. And so this is so key, especially depending on your demographics. You know, what you're trying to get. I know a lot of the older generation doesn't get on Facebook, doesn't use social media that much, but more and more society is using it. Just to give you an example, I hardly keep in contact with anybody I was in the military with, because back then the only thing we had were landlines. We didn't really like share email addresses. We didn't have any kind of social media. So I kept in touch with them for a long time, and then we just kind of like separated. So what is social media? It's words, pictures, and video disseminated through social interaction, integrating technology, basically the internet and mobile-based tools. Everybody has like, a lot of people have like smartphones nowadays, where people can share and discuss information. And some of the social media tools is Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And just from a show of hands, and think about how many of y'all use these. How many people use Facebook?
I tried using Facebook, man. It's like navigating a maze.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Twitter is, and people keep bugging me to join LinkedIn, and
LinkedIn is kind of like a place where you post like a resume.
Yeah.
Resume.
But you can also talk about your business, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Local search, social search is like Foursquare, Looptee, Yelp. Social media management tools is Hootsuite, Nutshell, Seismic. Media metrics are like Google Analytics, and I'll kind of discuss that about a website, Facebook and Twitter.
where would you put Constant Contact in?
Constant Contact?
In that list, yeah, what would it be? What would you categorize it as?
Constant Contact, I would say that is a media management tool. And I'll tell you why, because like I said, constant contact, what it allows you to do is put the contact information that you have from your customers and then always send them information like via email or however the contact information is that'll allow you to send them specials, keep them interested in your business, keep your business always at the tip of their tongue. So
Twitter can work that way, I guess.
Twitter can work that way. I'm not a big Twitter follower or fan. I've tried it. I just can't do it. But I've had friends that they follow like 20 people on Twitter, and I've had friends that do more than that. So
That's a good job.
they do have a job, full-time job. This is a little bit about Facebook. It's a social media site created in 2004. So next year it'll be 10 years old. And basically it's an electronic directory of individuals, businesses, and organizations. It includes names, pictures, and information. Allows you to connect with your friends. And if it were a country, it would be the third largest country in the world. That's how many people are on Facebook. So, and this gives you a little bit difference between your profile and pages. So, and this is separate because as an individual, you want to create a profile page, a profile. And as a business, you want to create more of a business site or page. And here, fan pages can be a part of your search engine optimization strategy. We talk about fans versus friends. Fan pages can have unlimited number of fans, while profiles can only have 5,000 friends. So if you create just a personal profile page, you can only have 5,000 friends.
How many of them want to borrow money?
Not that many.
Terrible.
Yeah, I actually got contacted one time from Facebook, and one of my friends I hadn't talked to in a long time wanted to borrow money. And I kind of thought they were crazy or got hacked or something like that. And basically, you can have multiple fan pages. So say you have a bike, and we'll go back to that example, and you put up a page on biking in your area. Well, say you have one site dedicated to just endurance biking or long distance biking. You can have a Facebook page just for that. And let's say another segment of your business is the extreme biking. And you can have a totally separate page for that. So they don't have to necessarily be interested in both. They can be interested in one or the other.
I guess that would be a good, way of showing that you've got a following.
Right.
Customer base.
And see the more people that are on it, yeah, it kind of shows. It gives you a chance to like a page, so that you have in your potential customers there. Like I said, keep it always updated. Let people know what's going on in your industry, things like that, stuff that they'll find interesting. And this is just an example of the entrepreneurship training program page. It's on Facebook. So. And we'll talk a little bit about starting off on Facebook. And basically the first thing you need to do is sign up on Facebook. Search your company's name on a business fan page. And one of the things you want to do is when you do get on Facebook and you do search for a competition, find out what they're putting on their web page, on their fan page. So that, maybe it's interesting. Maybe you can copy it, Enhance your Facebook page by registering a business account. If you already have a personal Facebook profile, expand your presence through fans. Consider running hyper-local ads. It's real important that you understand that there is a difference between a profile page and a fan page here. Because if you set up your profile page as your business, then you cannot set up a fan page. So it's real important that you understand that when you set up a profile page, it's personal. It has to be you. And when you set up a fan page, it can be your business. Okay? Because if you were to set up your profile page as your business, then you cannot make a fan page. Does that make sense?
When you set up a personal page, you have to put your birth date. Is there something you have to put for a business page?
Not that I know of. Next, we'll talk a little bit about Twitter. It's a social networking site and micro-blogging service. It allows users to send and receive messages known as tweets. Messaging allows connect to real time. And as of March 2011, there were over 200 million people using Twitter. So it is widely used, and this should be a part of your marketing thing. And we kind of talked about in marketing, your target market, not everybody is your customer. So just remember that. It's like just because I don't use Twitter doesn't mean that 95% of your business clients don't use Twitter. So keep it in mind. If you're uncomfortable with it, maybe find somebody who's an employee that is not uncomfortable with it, that knows how to use Twitter. So it doesn't necessarily have to be yourself. This is basically how to start off on Twitter. You start off by reserving an account with your business name. It's a real easy process to sign up for it, but make sure that you're the only person that has your business name. Use it to search your competitors. Remember, spend 15 to 30 minutes a day based upon how much time you have available. And this is real key. It's just a marketing thing. Kind of like put 15 minutes aside every day to do nothing but Twitter. And and it could be anything. I have a few sites that I have on Facebook, and they send me stuff like, well, come eat at our restaurant. This is our special of the day. This is our happy hours. So things like that. You can enhance it by using more advanced tools, desktop versus and mobile Twitter. Monitor keywords for your business. There are special keywords on Twitter. They use hashtags. So, maybe you want to go hashtag bikes or something like that. So you can search all tweets about bikes that day. Let's talk about LinkedIn a little bit. How do you start off on LinkedIn? You reserve your business name. Make sure your business name is not like somebody else's. Use it to search your competitors. Look up customers and connect with them. What I like to do with LinkedIn is I'm able to link with a bunch of different interests that I have. And so I get new articles every day about what's going on in that part of the industry. So and a lot of the articles are very good. I get articles from Inc. magazine. I get articles from all the major business magazines. So if you're interested in management, are you interested in computers? Are you interested in accounting? Things like that. So it's not just one. Maybe your outside interest. Maybe you're interested in football. So.
Do they require you to sign in when you go? Like I get these notices, join us on LinkedIn, and you click it, you have to sign in.
Yes, I have to.
Your own account.
You have to sign in on LinkedIn. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, the good thing about LinkedIn is yes, you have to sign in and you build a kind of a profile page, and then you talk about what you're good at, what are your skills, and people can endorse you so that people can find you later on. And it talks about people that are in your industry so that you can connect with them. And here we'll talk about, just social networks. People are using their mobile phone more. I know when I search a lot of the social networks, I just do it off my phone. you know. So basically, I can do it anywhere. And here we talk about it's like people are not using the phone book anymore. I talked a little bit earlier about how my phone book has never made it out of the plastic. And local areas, you know, make sure that people are looking, that you use your local area as a reference point. Use it as your hashtag for Twitter. Use it to make sure your search engines talk about, you know, the area that you're in. And don't just have it associated with the city you're in. Have it associated with the area that you're in, that the area you're around. Just to give an example, like I live in McAllen, and McAllen's surrounded by Edinburgh, Mission, Far. You know, if it's the right product, I'll go as far as Harlingen, you know. So, but make sure you have those as part of your search engine, that you don't just have your local city. Next, we'll talk about Foursquare. How many of y'all have ever used Foursquare? This is kind of a new social media type of, I think it's kind of a game, but it's real important that if you have a business with high traffic, that you do look into Foursquare. And basically when people are signed up on Foursquare, it sends out a message to everybody and lets them know that they have just walked into your business, so that they can, like, say they have a friend that's nearby and they're like, oh, this guy's just 2 doors down, let me go into that business. And maybe they'll go into your business and they'll find something that they weren't looking for. I mean, that, to me, that happens a lot. And just on the bottom, it's like over 3 million people use Foursquare. So this is just an example. You know, it talks about how many people, if you look on the upper right, how many people have checked in your website, you know. And it, like I said, it's a very good tool to use. And some other local strategies are start off by adding your business to Google Maps. We talked about that. Update your listings and include details. Adding your business to Bing. Bing is a search site that's come up a lot. Optimize your website for keywords or subject areas. 4 tips for local strategies is be proactive. Keep your information, links, and pictures updated. I mean, people don't like to go to a website and see the same old thing, because then they're like, well, it's just a waste of my time to go to that person's website. Promote your site with positive reviews. Enhance your local marketing effort. Cross-promote with other local businesses. So this is key. Make sure you network with people and you talk to other people. And a big thing at one time was, well, I'll put your link on my website if you put my link on your website. So leverage social media. Social media should be leveraged with your marketing strategy. We talked about this a little bit. Link your social media account from your home page and other prominent places to your website. So make sure that if they they get your information or they get something from you via social media, that there's a link that goes straight to your web page, so they can get more information about you. Include your web links and your social media accounts on your newsletters. Display your latest blogs on your homepage. I have a client that does this, and I think he does it very well. And what he does is he makes a point to talk about his business 3 times a week. And what he does is he'll send it via Twitter, so that you can always be in touch with him. And then that automatically gets transferred to the front of his web page, so that even if you don't follow him on Twitter, then you can always see what's going on on his homepage. So this is just a checklist. Determine your business's target market. Make sure you call the VBOC. We can assist you with that. What is your target market? You know, lots of times you can get a hold, or you can find out who your target market is with social media. Find out who's interested in maybe buying the bike in your local area. Find out who's interested in your type of music in your area, something like that. So points to consider: determine the effects of social media on your small business. Make a commitment to use social media. Remember, like 10, 15 minutes a day, you know. And if you can't do it, maybe one of your employees can do it. Maybe they're very good with Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. So, and at the bottom here, communicate boundaries and behaviors with employee handbook. I know that they talk about, I mean, with Facebook, lots of times people will put pictures on Facebook. And if you have a shirt with advertising your business and they're doing something like getting like really, really drunk and they got a beer in their hand or something, maybe it's, you know, negative effects to your business. So make sure that that kind of conduct is and everything is in an employee handbook. Some other things to consider is basically start with your basics. Choose one social networking site, and you know, and wait till you get really, really good at it. Then add another one, and add another one until you pretty much hit every area. Tips and tools for management and measurement. Create a schedule or full marketing plan for your social media. Make sure that the social media is part of your marketing, your overall marketing plan. Use research online tools that can help manage your social media. Find out how many people are coming to your website or how many people are coming to your fan page. And use tools like Google Analytics to measure your return on investment. And these are just some resources, you know, the Facebook.com, Twitter.com, Yelp.com. So, are there any questions? This one will talk about communications, networking, and negotiations. And we're going to describe the elements to proper communication, speaking, and listening. We're going to talk about the different techniques for proper business communications. And we're going to inform strategies on networking your small business. So elements of business communications: there's verbal communications, there's nonverbal communications, there's written communications, marketing and advertising, employment communications, and electronic communications. Basically, it's formal versus informal communications. So elements of good speaking, you know, have a good voice quality, have a good style, you know, make sure you have good word choices. Adaptation, basically adapt them to who's your audience, who are you talking to, things like that. Keep that in mind. Basically, the nature of listening is sensing, you know, is a person sincere about what they're talking about, interpreting what they're saying, remembering what they're saying. And next we'll talk about using the phone. And basically when you talk on the phone, you want to use a professional voice quality. You know, you don't want to be like weak or kind of like, you know, inferior. Make sure you're courteous to the person you're talking to on the phone. You don't want to be rude to them. And have effective phone procedures. You know, like I talked a little bit about answering the phone. Make sure you answer the phone by the third ring if possible. Make sure you communicate who you are, you know, where they're calling. One of the things, my pet peeve, I know we talked about those, I talk about them a lot, is when somebody calls me and then they ask me, well, who is this? It's like, why are you asking me who is this? You're the one that called me, I didn't call you. So, effective voicemail techniques. Just an example is make sure you talk about, here we'll talk about it a little bit. Effective voicemail techniques, speak clearly and distinctive. Identify yourself by name and affiliation. Like I like to tell people, this is Bill Lickman, I'm with the Veterans Business Outreach Center. Make sure they know who's calling them. Give a brief overview of the message. This is, I'm calling you because of this. Can you please call me back? Continue with details. Ask for action if needed. Like I said, call me back. And use that, tell them my number. Speak slowly with callback information. And this is real key, is one of the things that I have to do is sometimes I have to slow myself down and make sure that I do speak clearly and that people understand what I'm saying when I say call me back. Part of this I like to talk about because the reason to give your name and affiliation is lots of times, I don't know about y'all, but I get like credit cards companies calling me, and sometimes it's just nonsense. It's like, why are you calling me? I don't know how I got on some automatic thing where it says, do you want to lower your interest rate on your credit cards? I'm sitting there going, I'm not delinquent on my credit cards and my interest rate's not that high to begin with, so I don't even know why I got on this list. But
that thing about callback information slowly, I don't know how many calls I'll get, and I can't, people say their own number very fast because it's
yes,
familiar to them.
right.
And I can't get the number.
Yeah, when you leave your contact information on a voicemail, a lot of people talk very quickly, and so it's like, what did they say?
Yeah.
I mean, I can say my own telephone number real quickly to where the words kind of blur. I mean, the numbers kind of blur together, so I have to tell people it's 956-665, 7539.
I'll say I'll repeat that for you.
Yeah.
That gives me a heads up. Get your pencil.
Right. That's a good idea too. And
Get your pencil and repeat it.
Yeah.
I've had clients that call me and they'll start off with their number, and then by the time I get a pencil, I forget the number, but they'll repeat it. That's a very good point. It keeps me from having to rewind the voicemail and write it down again. So techniques for conducting meetings, plan the meeting. Follow the agenda. This is another pet peeve I have, is when people get off topic and they start talking about things and that aren't on the agenda. It's like, you have an agenda there, I have a certain amount of time. Move discussions along. I always laugh because there was I think it was a Ziggy comic or something like that. And the guy goes, well, I could get so much work done if I didn't have to attend all these darn meetings. So, control those who talk too much. Encourage participation from those who talk too little. I mean, people that don't talk very much, sometimes they have great ideas. Maybe sometimes they're listening, but make sure you encourage them. Maybe they have something to say. And control the time. And summarize at appropriate places. Make sure that everybody's on the same page and they know what's been said. So kind of summarize what's been said, what's going on, what you're talking about. Techniques for participating in the meetings. The last ones were techniques for planning a meeting. This is for participating in the meeting. Make sure you follow the agenda. Participate. Like I said, people want to know what you have to say. Don't talk too much, but talk enough. Cooperate. Basically, most meetings are a joining of the minds. Sometimes we talked about different techniques about being innovative. Remember, just being a brainstorming, things like that. Maybe you're having a brainstorming session. How can I improve my product? You know, or maybe if you don't have a product, what kind of product can we sell? And be courteous, you know, don't be rude and step over somebody. Let everybody talk, you know. Make informal presentations. The selection of the topic is real important. You know, make sure that it relates to your audience. Prepare the presentation. You know, and this kind of goes back and make sure that you do relate the presentation to your audience, and that you use a self-analysis. You know, what could I do better? What can I do worse? I mean, well, not what can I do worse, but what can I do better? Am I relating with my audience? Make sure you use effective delivery techniques and use of visuals. You know, just don't stand up there and read something like I do. Okay, basically the different types of methods is, you know, extemporaneous, from notes, rehearsed, memorized. It's the most difficult. People, they for some reason lose their place, then it takes a long time for them to get back to where they need to be, or if they forget something. And if you read the presentation, it can be dull, it can be mechanical, things like that. So basically, remember, it's real key that you understand who your audience is. Determine the size, the characteristics, and by characteristics we mean like their education level, maybe their sex, their age, things like that. During the presentation, get feedback. You know, are they smiling? Are they frowning? Are they going to sleep? You know, and then adjust your speech depending on what your audience is doing. Self-analysis. Be confident about what you're talking about. Be well dressed. You know, sincerity. Try to project sincerity. Make sure that the audience knows that you care about them and that you care about the topic you're speaking about. Thoroughness, scant, hurried presentations are obvious. Hope I'm not too obvious. I just talk fast. So, friendliness, be genuine. You know, don't just say, oh, I'm gonna act like a friend, because I mean, it's real important that you care about your audience, and that they know you care about them, and that you want them to succeed, and that you want them to understand the information you're telling them. The different types of applications for presentations. This one here, we're using PowerPoint. I know we're doing something with media. This is more like a YouTube. It's kind of our first time to ever use it, so it's something new. But basically, everybody uses PowerPoint. I mean, you'll see any kind of presentation you go to, most of the time, they'll have a slides where they've created a PowerPoint presentation. Now we're going to talk about networking for your business. And I think this is real important too. I mean, well, according to me, everything's real important, but this is something that you can do. I think it goes along with social media and websites, because it's a way to advertise your business and it doesn't cost anything. And to me, one of the most important things is any way that you can get the word out there about your business and it doesn't cost you anything, it's real important. Another thing I think is real important is like research. You can do a lot of research at a very minimal cost. This is something that doesn't cost you very much. So to me, those are very, very important parts of anything you do, of any kind of business. So why is it important? Create awareness. You want people to associate you with your business. New clients, partners, investors. Use it to bounce ideas off and get feedback from people. Increase sales. You should be consistently selling your business, products or service. I know one of the organizations that I belong to was the NHPO, National Hispanic Professional Organization. And what we did basically was we had a mixer once a month. And of course, I'm not Hispanic, but everybody's invited. It's basically a professional business association or organization. And we would like exchange business cards, talk about our business ideas, let people know who we were, what we did, find out from other people so that you can make associations. What do they do? You know, maybe you can use it to bounce ideas off people. Networking, what you want to do is prepare a 30 to 15 minute description of your business, something that we call an elevator pitch. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. I think an elevator pitch is very important to have. You know, and it's something like, just make it real brief, something like a 15-minute thing. I like to use the elevator pitch that the Veterans Business Outreach Center is there to help you succeed. And we also have an elevator pitch that we're there to help you create and sustain businesses. So, you know, networking, use your business card. Like I said, use the front side, use the back side. Make sure you have your contact information on there. Maybe you tell people a little bit about what you do. Try to put your website on there. Drive people to that website. Ask questions and be free to dispense information. Be ready to refer other people to services. That way they can refer you in case they come across somebody who needs your services or your product. And offer solutions, not just products or services. So maybe it's something that you don't do, but you know a little bit about. You know, advice is free. So, where to network, the Chamber of Commerce's, community, civil and religious organizations, Toastmasters, industry events, business expos right here. You know, maybe you come across something right here that you didn't know somebody did, and now you know they did. You know, you spend several hours with them. You like them. Have a friend that talks about, well, people will do business with people they know and like a lot more than just a person based upon price. So they get to know you, and networking is a way to overcome price limitations. And like I said here, it's like, you know, I belong to that organization. I actually belong to like 5 different organizations, and I would talk to people all the time about my business. So it's real important that you, because lots of times you get out there and people don't know what exactly you do. They're like, oh, he owns his own business, but what kind of business does he own? So it's real important that you get out there and you let people know, and that you offer solutions. That way they can refer other customers back to you. The third part of this presentation will talk about negotiations for small businesses. As business owners, you're going to negotiate with customers, suppliers and vendors, distributors, service providers, employees, and just other people that you come in contact with. Key negotiating tips is take a collaborative approach, you know, basically a win-win approach toward everything you do. Have an alternative. Don't be firm or stiff about this is what I'm offering, this is the price I'm offering, that's all there is to it. You know, maybe if that's, you know, your price for 50 of them and this guy wants to buy 1,000 of them, oh, you know, maybe you can negotiate the price. You know, maybe a bulk sale, you'll get a better deal, you can give him a better deal. Or maybe by hours, you know, how many hours am I going to provide in service? This is how much I charge, $20 an hour. But if you need 40 hours for the service, I'll go down to $15 an hour, something like that. So keep that in mind. If selling negotiate when the sale is conditionally agreed upon. If buying, do the opposite. aim high and let the other side go first. Sometimes this can be dependent on your negotiating skills. You know, maybe you want to go first and you want to set a price point. You know, maybe you're willing to do a service for $25 an hour, but you want to set the tone of the negotiation, so you say, well, I'll do it at $30 an hour. And he says, well, I'm not willing to pay any more than $20 an hour. And then you have a place to negotiate from. Because usually if he starts off by saying, you know, something to the effect of, oh, I'll pay $15 for that, then it's real hard for you to say, well, I want, you know, $30 for that, because he's already set the price point. One of the things I like to watch the reality pawnbroker shows on TV. I don't know how many of y'all watch those. But one of the questions the pawnbroker will always ask the customer first is, how much do you want for that? And the first thing he always says, oh, that's way too high. There's no way I could pay that for that amount. For, you know, I always think that's hilarious. They'll always ask him first, how much are you looking to get for that? And then they always answer with, nope, not gonna happen. So basically there's an art to negotiating. Remember to view the buyer as a stakeholder. So, and this is a quote by Roger Sterling: since when did forgiveness become a greater attribute than loyalty? So, successful business requires three components. You need to trust the person that you're negotiating with, you need to make a commitment, and it needs to be transparent. So negotiations is the process in which options are explored. Basically, how many widgets will be produced, how many do you want, how many hours of service do you need, how many hours do you want, and expectations are given. You know, when are they going to be delivered? Well, I can deliver them in 2 weeks. You know, hours for service, well, you know, I can get to that in like 2 weeks, something like that. So remember, in small businesses, owners must negotiate all the time between in-state buyers and their suppliers by predicting the needs, interests, and wants of both the buyers and the suppliers. Small business owners can create and sustain a business model without sacrificing quality and trust. Basically, suppliers, you know, what products and services are negotiable, you know exactly what is negotiated, you know. Types of businesses, sell high, specialized items. Are you a person that needs to sell a lot of items, or are you a person that, you know, maybe you're a personal seller, you know, you sell one item and it's very personalized? You know, some of the variables for negotiating is the price, the quality, product options. It's a big one. You know, the warranty, delivery time, payment schedules, and service terms. Basically, these variables are also known in contract law as terms of agreement. So keep those in mind. And these are just, you know, three of the variables that you can always negotiate. Basically, remember that the negotiating strategy is the win-win. In a value chain model, the seller is expected to conduct market research, analyze the market, offer reasonable terms of negotiation, receive orders, bill orders, deliver products, and build customer support. Additional building blocks of value-based negotiations in constructing or repairing a customer relationship. The business owner should try to incorporate these points. Know what is being valued during the negotiation process. You know, how should the negotiations deal be designed to support that value, and focus the negotiation process around that speculative value, specific value. And these are just, you know, a few of the examples of different strategies. You know, if you're the purchasing or person to the owner. Know your budget limits. How much can you spend? Switching costs. Contractual obligations with the supplier. If you're the supplier, how do other ranks, how do other competitors rank? Are they reliable? Do they deliver to what's promised? You can negotiate a deal to buy a product and say you need 2,000 bicycles, and the guy says, well, I can deliver 2,000 bicycles in 1 month. And then if he doesn't deliver, you're not going to really do business with that guy anymore. So make sure that you do have the ability to deliver something. So just in summary, remember the elements of proper communications. Make sure you have a clear voice. Keep your audience in mind. Be sincere. On networking, remember that to me, networking is free. It's something you should always be doing. You should always be able to have that little 15-second, 30-second office, elevator pitch. Make sure that people know who you are, what you do. It's free advertisement, and get out there, socialize. The last one, negotiate with your business partners. Remember that as a small business owner, you're always going to be negotiating something. The 3 key things to always remember to negotiate are price, quantity, and quality. Are there any questions?
Alrighty, guys, so this is the last one. This is actually module 6 for us. I'm going to talk a little bit about leadership and motivation. Some of these topics might be trite. You might know a little bit of this stuff, but some of it hopefully is new information that's going to help you as you guys are trying to meet your goals and objectives as you get your businesses started. So the objectives are knowledge of different leadership theories. We're going to talk about a couple of different types of theories and how you can utilize them to inform your strategies, understand strategies for leadership, and then different theories of motivation and strategies that you can employ to improve motivation. And the purpose of this in general is just to give you an overview to prepare you to meet goals and objectives. So there's always been an argument within academia whether leadership is innate or if it can be taught. Are leaders born or are they made? I think the military as one organization or one type of organization would purport that obviously that they can be made, because the military says that we make leaders all the time. I would tend to assert that while that's true, there obviously needs to be an appropriate canvas to draw those characteristics out. So it's a little bit of a hybrid of both. Leaders can indeed be made. There's the arguments obviously of nurture versus nature, but I think ultimately, not to be a purist on one side or the other, there's a little bit of both that goes into making a leader. And a leader is, here's the definition, is an individual directing, inspiring, or motivating people to attain organizational goals and objectives. And there's several types we're going to discuss. There's no one type that's appropriate for all situations, obviously. Contingency theory holds that the situation should dictate the type of leadership that should be employed and should be executed and would probably be executed and applied most effectively. So, there's going to be different situations where you're going to need different types, and we're going to talk about a couple of them here. So these are the main types. Autocratic, being that you rely on basic formal authority. Bureaucratic, whereby you apply compliance measures primarily. Participative, where you involve everybody or involve the vast majority of them anyway. And free reign, where you kind of let people do as they wish, in a sense of maybe Apple and Google and some of these companies that have started more recently in history. And And there's a couple of other ones, servant and sour apple, and we're going to talk a little bit about those as well. These are the things that people want from their leaders. They want direction. Employees want to know what they should be doing. That's not to say that they want to be told what they should be doing at all times. That's more of a function of micromanagement. But they do want to know what they should be doing. They want to be trusted, and they want to be able to trust that their leader is doing the right thing and not doing something unethical. And they want to hope that, you know, that to me translates, they want to believe in the ethos and the pathos of the company. In order for that to happen, they would have to know what the ethos of the company is. So that falls right into line with developing the vision and the goals of the company and conveying that appropriately to employees. These are things that you would incorporate directly into your strategic plan. Create the vision and the goals, and make sure that you're leaving a little bit of room to refine those as you move forward. Don't get married to the initial vision, because that vision might change or it might become something a little bit different. Now, keep in mind, these vision statements and mission statements, they're not long narratives. They should be pretty short. They should be pretty succinct and pretty concise. And results, you know, employees want to know that the things that they're doing have an impact on the bottom line. They don't want to have the sense that everything that they're doing is for naught, or maybe that it's not even valuable to the company. They want to know that their days of hard work are valuable in some sense. So motivation is the inner drive that directs a person's behavior towards meeting organizational goals. And what we're going to talk about here is a little bit of understanding some theories to improve engagement. It's been said you can't buy engagement. You can buy time from employees, but you cannot buy engagement. I find that to be true, especially at the level where you're paying employees and staff an hourly rate. You can't buy engagement from them 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day. So it's about creating with them the willingness to do the things that should happen for the company to be successful. And it's constant. It's every day. It's with employees, it's with stakeholders, and it's with yourself. So, you know, some of these things that we're going to talk about are employees and techniques that you can apply. And it's important to keep in mind as well, as you apply these, that you can't have an understanding of do as I say, not as I do. Most of these things have to be applied in a form and fashion that would require you to follow the same rules that you're trying to apply to your employees, in that some of the things that we're talking about here are going to directly impact how you create culture within your company. So here's a couple of theories we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Maslow's, Herzberg's, McGregor's, and Theory Z. And these typically would fall into organizational behavioral topics and social sciences. And probably, you know, a couple of decades ago, things that would not really inform business practices, but now, you know, social sciences are integrated because it's important to recognize the value of applying these psychological characteristics to developing motivational structures. So the first one is Maslow's, and this is the most basic one. So basically, the things on the bottom of this triangle need to be met first. So if the most basic needs on the bottom are not met, Maslow's theory would hold out that you can't concentrate on the next higher one along the continuum of this triangle here. And it makes sense, because if you don't have food, water, and shelter, then you can't really concern yourself with the next thing in safety and security. If you're not safe, you're not really worried about your social requirements and your need for companionship, and need for respect. Self-esteem is necessary before self-actualization. Self-actualization is the things that we would expect our employees to employ when they're looking to become better at what they do and be good employees and seek to grow professionally and seek to work on their own development, out of their own concern for them, for their well-being, and not necessarily for some other requirement that they need to meet at the bottom. A couple of philosophers talked about this. An 18th century Scottish philosopher that I like, David Hume, discusses it a little bit. And he posits it by saying that the people that are the real creators in the world exist within this top half, but not the very top, because the people on the bottom are too concerned. He positions it culturally and economically. He says the poor people are too busy trying to eat, and the really rich people are too busy trying to fulfill their desires. So the only real work that gets done is in some area of that middle area there. And that may be true or not, but this is one of the theories, and I tend to agree with it. So it's important to understand that these frameworks allow you to develop the motivational structure. So as you're looking at these, keep that in mind. Herzberg separates it out into two categories. The first one relate to Maslow's lower echelon, and these the ones on the right, the motivational factors, relate to Maslow's top echelon, the very highest one of self-actualization. As you can see, they bring up topics that you would expect to hear about in self-actualization, recognition, responsibility, and obviously advancement. Now, the ones on the right, the hygiene factors, they are necessary, but they do not motivate. So you would expect that in most situations, those things are those are the vitals, that you need to have them. So if a company was leveraging that level, that echelon of activities, it might even be looked upon as maybe predatory, because if you're leveraging that, that's probably not the best company that you would want to work for. Whereas the motivational factors are not necessary, but if you apply them appropriately, then you're going to get much more engagement and operational efficiencies out of your company, I would think, and increased productivity. And I will say, this next one here, McGregor's theory, is speaking directly a little bit more to engagement. And it speaks to the point I was making about you can't buy engagement in most cases, especially with these theory X type of people. These are the people that dislike employment. They just do not want to be there, and they have to be forced to do jobs. So it speaks to the type of leadership that you would apply to people that you find fall into that category. So those you might apply an autocratic or bureaucratic leadership style to, whereas people that fall into this theory Y category, these people love to come to work, they're self-motivated to do what they need to do. You would apply a different leadership style to these people. You would apply a free rein, possibly laissez-faire type of leadership style. And we do see that with some of these companies, these large tech companies, such as the ones I mentioned before, Google and Apple. Those guys, they're not on top of them. I know that in some certain situations, they give them a certain allotted number of hours every week just to work on whatever they want to work on. It doesn't even have to be anything related to what their actual function is within the company. And they say, go work on whatever you want to work on. And, at the end of the month, let us know if you come up with anything interesting. So those are the type of leadership styles they apply to that personality type.
That also applies on an individual basis.
Sure, exactly, Chuck. Good point. On an individual basis as well. Theory Z here is moving you along the continuum a little bit more from engagement to participative involvement. So it's saying not only would you apply this if you want highly engaged employees and you want to develop a culture of engagement, but you really expect that you would want to have employees involved in the decision-making processes of the business. And for certain scenarios, this wouldn't be the best one to apply. Certain environments dictate or not necessarily dictate, certain environments involve a particular type of staff that are not interested in being involved. They fall into one of the previous categories that we discussed. They want to be told what to do, and they want to have some compliance about what should be done and what should not be done, and they don't want to be involved in decision making and things like that. And that's incumbent upon the type of company that you create. It's incumbent upon the leadership, yourself as the owner and the creator, to decide which one you fall into. This Theory Z was based upon a book by Uchi, Japanese management specialist, and it's based upon applying theories of the value of trust and intimacy with employees, but you have to have the underlying culture as well. You can't have one without the other. They go hand in hand. So some strategies for motivation as we shift here from leadership to how you would create policy development for HR best practices. So when you look at things like this, and you think, what kind of strategies are we going to put in place? These are some of the things that you can look at. What kind of job design are we going to create for our employees? Is there going to be rotation? Are we going to allow them to be on a track of professional development where they get more responsibility, job enlargement as time goes on? And what does that look like? How is it tiered? Is it 6 months? Is it based upon meeting milestones of productivity? Is it based on reaching a certain number of accounts, and then we're going to put them in charge of other accounts, other people that have smaller accounts? It's something like that. Is it job enrichment? Are you going to allow them to do the jobs that they're interested in after they become experts at the jobs that they have right now? Those type of things. Are you going to allow them to work from home and have flexible work schedules? You know, a lot of companies are moving to this for several reasons, but one of them being that the continued increasing cost of facilities is becoming untenable for some small businesses. So if you reach a choice of whether you would want to buy additional space or just keep the amount of space that you have and allow certain employees that fall into that Theory Y category that are self-motivated, you allow them to work from home for part or all of their work schedule. I know a lot of people right now that are on these type of things. A friend from a pharmaceutical company does all of his work 40 hours a week from home for a company in San Antonio, but it didn't start that way. It started as, okay, we're going to let you do 10, 15 hours from home. You get the reports done that you need to, you get your work done, and then he slowly moved up. Now he's basically on his own free reign, and you would just develop policy, about how you would like that to look. The point of behavior modification speaks to the type of culture that you want to create and how you're going to involve the notions of reward and punishment for the behavior you would like to see and things that you would not like to see. But you have to create an outline for these type of things. You can't just, at the point where you see something you dislike, decide, I'm going to create a retroactive policy to deal with this issue, especially if you kind of think about it at the beginning and create some general guidelines and then build upon them later on as you move forward. And that's generally how policies and procedures guidelines start out anyway. I mean, you have to have something to start out with, and you would want to say, this is what we would want to see and this is what we don't want to see. Within the context of building culture, that might include allowing people to do non-traditional things at work that you would like to promote. For instance, certain companies out there have allotted nap times where they let employees take naps at work. And some companies took it one step forward and have nap rooms where you can go in there and take a nap, and there's cots and things like that. And that's part of culture. Are you looking to develop a culture where you don't want people to take naps? Well, then you wouldn't obviously want to have the nap room. Or are you looking to develop a culture where you allow people to go out of the office, or you promote them to go out of the office and look at competitors for a couple of hours a week? So are you setting it up to where managers are asking employees, hey, have you gotten out? Where have you been this week? find out anything interesting? You know, do you have a report that where we can all look at and say, hey, this is some interesting stuff that's going on? Or are you going to promote a culture where everybody comes in, sits at their desk, does their work, takes their 30 minutes of lunch, and then gets right back to the office? You can see that there's different leadership types you would apply to create each one of those. One of them is definitely bureaucratic, and the other one is definitely more of a free reign type of environment. So, you know, these theories came about from a couple of researchers, Skinner and Daniels. Daniels built upon the notions of Skinner's research into reward and punishment by adding this part about the antecedents, behavior, and consequences. And basically what he was getting at is that you can't change people's behavior until you recognize why they're behaving that way. And then you can speak to why they're behaving that way, the behavior that they have, and the behavior that you would like to see them have, and then the consequences for not meeting those behaviors. And then we continue and roll back to job design. So these are the definitions of those things we discussed. What motivational factors are incorporated into a job that include recognition. These bottom ones probably more enrichment, but all of them include some level of motivational applications. And here's some more, some flex time, compressed work weeks. I've seen these a whole lot more. I've actually worked on compressed work weeks. Never had the pleasure of working on flex time, but I think that's going to be more prevalent in the coming decades, where people do, you know, part of their time at work and part of their time at home or somewhere else. Doesn't necessarily have to be at home. And telecommuting, whereby people are working, but they're doing it, they're all making themselves available on the phone or in some manner communicatively to the clients and customers of the business. I have seen a lot of that, a lot more of that happen, especially within the federal government, as a matter of fact. So the summary here is leaders can be developed, and leadership style should definitely match the situation. You can't apply one to everything uniformly. And these are just guidelines, these particular types of leadership styles. Obviously, there's a couple of more, and you can look into them in more depth if you so choose. And it's necessary to drive the company culture is the main thing that I would want to emphasize here as the takeaway. These are the things that you need to reference in order to influence the type of culture that you're trying to create. That is the last module that we have. I would like to say for the folks in class and for the folks online, this should not be your last step or your last bit of involvement with our program or people that can serve as advisors in a business capacity or an offer technical assistance. There's a lot of resource partners out there. Keep in mind that y'all can get a hold of us anytime. And for those of you that are in this class right now and on the online, I would expect to hear from you very soon so we can start setting up appointments and working with you guys one-on-one on your business plans and moving you guys forward so that we can get y'all opened in the timeline that you guys have in mind. Any questions from anybody here in class? Alrighty, thank you very much.